ay, yeah. Ay, ay, ay. Miracles come while we in the fight. Don't give up and hold him tight. You will have a visible battle scar, but never forget who you are and fight, fight, fight.
Hello and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. You know, Embracing the Fight is about helping to normalize a conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues and concerns. Today's message was supposed to be totally different because I was supposed to be going in to get a consult on radioactive iodine, for the thyroid cancer. However, I'm in here for something totally different. So I was at home cleaning, and it's like I got this really strong cramp in my back. And I went upstairs. I got a massaging heating pad, and I sat on it, turned it on. And as soon as the heat reached it, that pain shot around my side and went in between my abdomen and my sternum, and I could feel like the pain radiating across here. And then it started to shoot down my right arm. So you know what I thought? I thought heart attack. I was at home by myself, and I tried to get up, and I was basically brought down to my knees. The pain was so great. So at this point, I called 911, and I told them everything that I had going on. Gave them my name, my address, my birthday, all that kind of information. And after they told me, to chew aspirin, they were like, make sure your doors unlocked, your alarm's off, all those kinds of things. So I took care of all that stuff. Well, anyway, after I got off the phone with them, I called my parents to tell them what was going on, because it's important to let someone know, that is close to you of what's going on. Well, after I made that call, then I called my friend, Daphne, who's a doctor, and you guys have seen her, on the podcast. And I was telling her about what was going on as well. So I have her and my mother on the phone at the same time, and the EMS, they arrive. Well, when they arrive, they're asking all these questions, and I'm in severe pain at this point because I can, hardly sit up in a sense. But then I had to end up getting up because the alarm went off, because, silly me, I didn't turn the alarm off when I unlocked the door, because it wasn't connected to my phone anymore for some reason, not sure why. Anyway, so they got my blood sugar to make sure, I didn't have anything strange going on there. And I'm not diabetic, so that wasn't a concern for me. They did an EKG, and they said everything, looked normal. But this pain was still there, and it felt like it was, radiating. It was getting worse. So they were like, okay, we don't think it's your heart, but, do you want to go to the hospital by ambulance? So the answer is yes, because one, I couldn't drive myself, not in this level of pain, and it's not safe, to do that anyway. And I know that ambulance bill is probably going to be astronomical. However, it was the safest thing to do. So after I did that, and I told them I wanted to be taken by ambulance, got here, by ambulance. They gave me something for nausea, and I was a little dizzy as well. So I'm still thinking, heart attack. Well, get to the hospital, and I'm in the hallway for a second, and then they roll me into a room, and I have two of the most awesome nurses possible. And these two guys, they are, talking me through everything. They're letting me know what labs are coming up. They're letting me know, all the different things, that they're looking at. However, after, let's say, a couple of hours, my nephew comes, and, he's sitting there asking questions about, what can he do to help, that kind of thing. And I told him, hey, just go home and take care of a couple of things for me. But other than that, there's not much, to see here just yet, because none of the test results are back. So eventually I get a room, and while I'm in the room, I have a CT scan that's done of my chest to make sure there aren't any blood clots there, because you all know I have a history of factor V Leiden. So that was one of their concerns because of the quick and intense pain that I had. They also did an ultrasound of my heart, to look for blood clots as well, and to see how well the valves were opening and closing, on my heart. They also did an MRI, of my abdomen. And anyone who knows me knows that I am extremely claustrophobic. And when I got into this MRI, I didn't have a fit because she let me keep my head out. So usually they make you go in like head first, I believe. But I was like, ma'am, I cannot do that. So she allowed me to keep my head out. So after all those tests, and they had to do several blood tests, they also had to give me, shots of Lovenox into the the fatty part around my belly, because I couldn't take, Eliquis, because if they determined that I needed surgery of any kind, I had to wait, 48 hours where I have no Eliquis in my system, because, you run the risk of bleeding to death, because Eliquis is, it's basically not keeping your blood from clotting, but it is providing anticoagulative properties so your blood continues to flow. So it doesn't prevent the blood clot, but it does allow the blood to flow. Like it for lack of a better term, it really just dilutes it in a sense. And that's just my understanding. I could be completely wrong, but this is what I understand. So after the doctors came in and they talked about all the different medicines that I actually take, they made sure that I was getting my levothyroxine, as well as my high blood pressure medicine. But they stopped the high blood pressure medicine as well. And oddly enough, I know they're gonna say, you can't think like this. That's not, your thought process. And you're right, you should think this way. But I'm like, darn, my blood pressure's better when I'm not on this stuff. My blood pressure was like 105 over 55 at one point. And when I came in, it was higher, of course, because I was stressed, but it started to come down, and the best it was about 124 over 76. And everyone says, oh, that's great. But that 104 over 55, I felt different. I felt like I had more energy. I felt a whole lot better, unless I just felt better just because I heard some good numbers. Who knows? Your mind does some very, interesting things. So on top of all that, they're constantly drawing blood. They're waking you up every 3-4 hours, either to stick your finger, because I couldn't eat anything, right? Because they said if you're going to have surgery, then nothing to drink, nothing to eat. So for almost 48 hours, really, I didn't eat, anything. And I was starving. I was like, anything would taste good right about now. But anyway, no food, lots of blood that was drawn, lots of urine samples. And they had like an iPad here that pulls up, all the information, all the test results, all the people that you've seen, the doctor's notes, everything. And this was, an amazing, experience. And I just talked with the cardiologist and the cardiologist nurse, and they basically said that my issue is not heart related. Thank God, because, I still have on this little heart monitor, that's the beeping, that you hear, and I'm still, connected, to an IV. So I'm going to be here, maybe a little bit longer today, but they plan on discharging me, today, because I do not have any heart issues. And they basically said that I have the presence of gallstones, and that extreme pain came from one potentially passing. And, when a gallstone leaves, it goes out, with your bowel movement, basically. So it's not like you don't pee it out like kidney stones, but gallstones, you, for lack of a better term, you poop them out, or you excrete them out. And so I guess there's one that's going on to Glory, or wherever they go in the sewage systems here. Because what I found was, initially, there are 3, enzymes that they look at, with your liver. For some reason, my liver enzyme, the AST, was extremely, elevated. It started off at like 234. But then it went up to 7-Eleven, and I hadn't eaten anything, I hadn't drank anything, I hadn't done anything. And then this morning, it went back down to 11, and they explained to me that when there's a blockage of any kind, your liver tends to do this. However, they also studied my liver a little bit further, and they explained that I have a fatty liver. And there are like a few main causes that make you have a fatty liver. And two of them I can scratch off, right away. One was alcohol, and I don't drink alcohol at all. Two was different types of medications like antidepressants and things of that nature. And I don't take anything like that, so you can scratch those off. But those last two things, diet and exercise. So I have to commit to a more low-fat, diet, and I have to exercise more than I've been exercising. Sure, I play tennis, here and there, but it's nothing serious and nothing extremely dedicated like I should be doing, or riding a bike or walking or jumping rope or, just being more active. And I noticed that I got a little watch now. It's not, a really fancy watch or anything like that, but it's one of these watches that kind of tells you, how many steps you've done a day. And one of those days, I had like 2,000 steps. I'm like, what? And the day I played tennis, I had 12,000. So that lets you know that I was being extremely active one day, and I did absolutely nothing that other day. And all I did was sit down, I should say. So I know that in order to get my liver back in line, I have to exercise, eat right, and spend more time, doing the right things to be healthy. Beyond that, everything else seems to be fine, and they're going to discharge me today based off on what the cardiologist said, but they want me to follow up in the future concerning my gallbladder, because they're suggesting that I should go ahead and have it taken out because it's full of stones, unless I just want to continually go through this, over and over again, thinking that I'm having a heart attack when it's one of these stones that's passing. Now, gallstones are normal, but it's not normal for them to pass through. So please pay attention to what your body is saying. There are times when you experience pain and you just kind of ignore it. Because a lot of the question they were asking was like, have you felt nauseous, over the past few days? Or have you felt any dull pains, on your right side at all? Or anything of that nature? And honestly, I hadn't. Now, maybe a month ago, I had eaten a whole lot of greasy stuff for, a few days, and I just felt nauseous, but I was like, oh, that's because I've been eating terrible. I didn't think that my body is saying, hey, gallbladder, sick of all this greasy you sending, we got to do better. And then it's like, okay, now that I know this, I know that all this playing around and joking around and, I want to eat right is turned into a necessity, which, honestly, in all honesty, it should be a necessity from the beginning, not just because, you're not a certain age or you don't have this issue or that issue. It's more about avoiding those issues, because if you decide to eat right and exercise and do right, 9 times out of 10, you won't ever, see these things unless you have like a genetic predisposition, or you may go to the hospital for something totally different, like, a sports injury if you fall or something like that. Not that your body is actually having issues from the inside out. So I'll have to update you guys on, when I'll be able to go in and have the radioactive iodine done, because I did call them and let them know that I was already in the hospital and I wouldn't be able to do this consult and start the process. So that'll probably be in a little bit. I'm not exactly sure, which will go first, but I have to set up an appointment with my primary doctor, also with a gastroenterologist, with a hematologist as well, and determine, how and, when and what we're going to do, with this gallbladder, because I was hoping that, there was some other way, to get these stones out and not necessarily take my gallbladder. Not because, I know, the gallbladder isn't something that's absolutely necessary for life. It's basically like a storage tank So when the bile is created, your gallbladder basically, stores it for you. So in any other instance, your body is still going to make the bile. It just won't have a place to store it if they get rid of your gallbladder. So I kind of want to keep the little storage tank. It's worked for me for 45 years, so let it continue to work. But I'm gonna have to talk with my internal medicine doctor and see what plan of action we can actually take before I do something really drastic. Because I know, like I said, they say it's a minimally invasive process, because you don't end up like with any like major cuts. They do it, how did they say, endoscopically, I believe. And you're gonna have like 4 little access points, and they just snip snip snip, and it's gone, it's done. You don't have any major scars or anything like that. But they said you'll be down for 2 weeks. 2 whole weeks. That's a long time to be down and out. So there's something I would really, need to plan, as well. Now, I'm not saying I'm just going to wait forever. If they say this is something that I need to do, I get it done sooner than later. But it's going to make that little procrastination person in me, really get to work. Because the procrastination is because I don't like surgery. And I'm usually one of the people that if you say you need to do something, I just go ahead and do it. I don't wait. But when it comes to surgery and things of this nature, I kind of, hold back just a little bit. But I know I can't do that either. I know I need to go ahead and take care of myself. So something else I wanted to kind of touch on is the fact that I was at home by myself. And I know there's lots of Americans, lots of people out there that live by themselves. And when you have a health crisis, the question is, how do you get through? Especially, say if you can't get to the phone to dial 911. I know a lot of folks might say, oh, well, we got, medical alert, we got this, or we have that. The question is, do you have someone or really that you talk to each and every day that will become concerned if they didn't hear from you like at a normal time? So you could start there, or you could get that medical alert bracelet, because you don't necessarily want to be alone, especially not in a time of crisis. So I implore you to take this time to really think about it, because even though you might be, healthy as a horse, who says you can't trip and fall and hit your head and be, laid out and nobody knows that you're there until days, weeks, later. So really start to establish, those relationships and those conversations to make sure that you have someone that's looking out for you just as much as you're looking out for them. I know with this age of texting and with all these different, FaceTime and sending emails, everything is so technological. We've lost, the personability of it all. So I'm saying we need to get that back. If you are by yourself in your home, especially if you work remotely, that makes it, even tougher for someone to know when you're having a crisis or when you need, someone there with you. In my case, my nephew would have eventually come home, but who would want to see me laid out on the floor like that? Nobody. So what I'm saying is have a plan, put something together, talk with your friends, let them know, you're concerned that you live by yourself and that you want to have someone that you can reach out to, that you can count on in the case of emergency. So I thank you all for your prayers, because I know that you see me and you know exactly, what I'm going through. You can even look around my little room here and see. It's actually, like I said, this is nice. This is a really nice hospital. However, it's not as nice as my house. So I would love to get back home. However, I appreciate, each and every one of you for taking out time in your day to watch each episode of Embracing the Fight. And I'm going to let you all know what things are going to look like going forward with this, as well as with the radioactive iodine. So I thank you all for taking a moment out to spend time watching Embracing the Fight. But I'm asking that you take a moment to share, like, subscribe, comment on this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and any other, platforms you see it on, because I use Libsyn and they put it a lot of different places. So I'd love for you to share, because we can heal one life at a time. And as we do that, we heal the world one step at a time. Thank you for watching Embracing the Fight. I am your digital creator and host, Erica Lamar. Have an absolutely amazing day.